All right. Hi, everybody. Very happy to be here. Thanks for the organizers of the event to welcoming us. So my name is Siwan. I'm part of Pulse. And in the last 4 years, we've been working on implementing software and AI in elite sports. And we've been speaking to hundreds, if not thousands of athletes, physiotherapists, club doctors, sports scientists, data analysts within organizations. And what we've realized actually is that AI, in a way, is a buzzword. So yes, in big organizations, resources are there to implement AI, to improve the performance of athletes, to improve the efficiency of the organizations. But in reality, in smaller organizations, the adoption is really low. And the reason behind that is a lot of the times, if you look at a typical business model of football organizations, is to organize games and make money out of it, fan engagement, everything around that. So coaches and sports scientists don't have really the knowledge and the expertise in AI because they are coaches and sports scientists. On a day-to-day, they're working, implementing training programs and improving the performance of athletes. And on the other side of the river, you have the AI specialists. So these are the people who are engineers who have the expertise and the experience in implementing software and artificial intelligence. And unfortunately, they don't necessarily have the experience in sports performance. Therefore, there is a gap in between these two that makes it very difficult for smaller elite organizations to implement AI. So this is basically what we do. We are an athlete management system, and we help organizations bridge this gap in between theory, what AI can do, and practically what organizations can implement. And it all comes back to what previous speakers have said about awareness and creating knowledge behind that to implement it smoothly and in a quick manner. When we come and start working with organizations, we try to help them understand that winning competition starts off the pitch, and organizations can use AI for this purpose. A little bit of context on what is the science behind our software and how the AI works. I'm a former professional football player, so I understand what performance is. For some people, for a coach, performance is scoring goals. For a physiotherapist and a sports scientist, it's making sure the athletes can train injury-free over the entire season. Everybody has their own definition of what performance is, but practically, if you think about it, it's a broad term. It can encompass so many different variables, whether that's physical, social culture, psychological, biological, everything affects the athletes at the club and outside the organizations. So our goal is to help organizations map this out through a holistic performance monitoring system. We do that basically through a software. Simply speaking, it's a software that is being used by the organizations to transform the data that they already have right now into game-changing decisions. And the outcome is more efficient organization that can decrease injuries, boost the performance of players, and win games. We do that in 4 main ways. The first one is data integration. So a little bit context about data. 5-10 years ago, the question was, how can we implement data in organizations? So now, this is not a question anymore. Speakers have said that AI is now. Now the problem is that there is too much data for a lot of organizations that we've been speaking to in Europe. So one of the first things we do when coming up with working with an organization is integrating all data and making sense of it. If you look at typical football clubs, they have heart rate, they have GPS, they have strength training. They also gather data through temperature tests, VO2 max tests. So there is a lot of things happening. And a lot of the time, these are disconnected from each other. And it's very difficult for organizations to make sense of it because it's too much. The first thing we help them with is integrating all this data into decisions for them to not only visualize, but understand the relationship between these. And basically helping organizations have this bird's eye view on the player that goes further than just what's happening to them on the pitch through GPS, for instance. The second thing we help them with is basically making faster decisions, and that's very important for organizations. Now we have this thing, after speaking to so many people, is don't talk nerd, and that is very important for organization because sometimes we can get lost in data, but the question is how can we transform this data into decisions? And that's very important for organizations to know exactly what to do next to train their athletes smarter and to turn their athletes basically into performance on and off the pitch to build better athletes, not only scoring goals, but smarter and healthier athletes as well. We do that basically by monitoring the players, their mental and their physical abilities, not only at the club when they're with all these coaches and all these tools around them, but also outside. How do they recover? How do they rest? What is their connections or social relationship with their family and their friends. And that way we can build a complete picture that doesn't look just at the player itself, but as a human being first. So that was faster decision making. And lastly, basically, as I said, so it's really turning these decisions into insights. So the coaches know what to do next on a day-to-day, whether that's to improve the performance of the athletes, but on the long term as well, how to make clubs more efficient. The last thing is how AI actually is very helpful at the moment is understanding the patterns between individuals. So if I eat a banana right now, it's going to affect me in a different way than it does for you. Every athlete reacts to training in a different way. And the key here, the key role of AI at the moment is to understand how every athlete react and adapt to training and to stressors. And this is very important for our organization to understand that you cannot implement a single training program that is matching 26 players at once. Every athlete differs in terms of their biological situation, but also how they react to it. So our goal is to personalize every single coefficient or algorithm to each athlete. And that way we can tell the coaches exactly which athletes needs what to make the club more efficient and to reduce the risk of injury as much as possible. The benefits of using our system, making the clubs more efficient right now, first of all, it's helping the organization save time. I will go next, but what we try to do on a day-to-day is helping the staff, as I said earlier, to turn the data into decisions and not wasting time into coding or analyzing data or sharing between departments. And eventually that helps with decision-making, whether that's knowing how much recovery the team or the players need, what is the ideal lineup of a squad, for example, coming game to make sure that the performance has its highest potential and the injury risk is at its lowest. And eventually that leads to improving the performance of athletes and their development on the long term. Some of the use cases we've been working with a few organizations. This is an example of Sparta Rotterdam, one of the first division league in the Netherlands. We've been working with them. On the player benefit side, we've reduced the risk of injuries by 91%. We went from 24 approximately injuries last season to this season of around 2 or 4, between 2 and 4, and that was medium to severe injuries. And we've improved as well the performance of athletes on single health and performance metric by 12%. And we were also very happy when we realized actually that by looking at mental and physical abilities of athletes, we could detect depression symptoms of 2 or 3 players that actually came from abroad that could not adapt to the culture in the Netherlands, and they were on top of it subs, so it was difficult for the organization to know how to deal with these athletes. And on the team level, it's saving time. As I said, for the performance department, it's approximately 4 hours that are saved on a day-to-day to look at, instead of looking at 10 different systems, having everything into one spot and understanding what next is for the coaches. And together we've built multiple features that fit every club, because every club works in a different way. And the goal for us is to bridge this gap, as I said, to be the partner, to help them implement AI in a smart and efficient way. That's basically it. Thank you for your time, and I will welcome any question.
Thank you very much. I don't know if there are some questions on Slido. Something is there. Do I understand well that you build customized software per client as you start with holistic mapping and proceed from there?
Yeah, very good question. So it is the case. So we've been building our system through research. So we've been doing already the research and understanding what affects the athletes how. So when we start working with an organization, we already implement what we already have through research to understand how the organization works, to also map out the different qualities and the different specificities of athletes, because as I said, every athlete reacts to it differently. So the goal is to understand for the first few weeks or months how the athletes are, how do they adapt, and that way we can pinpoint what can be helpful for this club, and then build the features that are specific to that organization.
Okay, thank you very much.